Language models train on snapshots. By the time you deploy one, it can't see last week's news. Tavily plugs that gap with fast, structured web search purpose-built for inference time. Type anything into the homepage search box and two things appear: a structured result pulled live from the web and the Python code that produced it. 4 lines. That's the complete integration, not a simplified demo version. The same 4 lines you'd use in production. The code shows a single function call with your query string as the only required argument. The result comes back as a dictionary, title, URL, content, and an answer field that synthesizes the page for you. Think about what's not in those 4 lines. No HTML parsing, no session management, no scraper maintenance. You pass a natural language question and get back clean, structured data a language model can reason over immediately. For an agent that needs to look things up at runtime, that's the whole job done. The demo isn't simulated. Your query goes to the live web, and what you see is what any application would receive back. That's not a feature of the demo, it's the API running right on the homepage. Now, the docs. The Quick Start page opens with a single install command, 1 line in the terminal, then immediately shows the minimum working code, 4 lines. Import the client, set your API key, call search, print the result. There's no step 2. That's the full integration for most use cases. No config file to write, no callbacks to register, no schema wrangling. One environment variable holds the key, and one method call runs the query. The interesting thing is what the Quick Start leaves out. There's no HTML parsing because the response comes back structured. There's no retry logic because the service handles reliability. The client library is thin on purpose, a typed wrapper around a REST call that does the heavy lifting server side. Scroll further and you see the response printed out: title, URL, content, and that synthesized answer field. The Quick Start is short because the API is genuinely simple, not because the docs cut corners. 4 lines work because the design earns it. Here's the response shape that makes this worth using inside an agent. Each result comes back as a dictionary with 4 fields: title, the source URL, a content excerpt from the page, and an answer, a short synthesis the service generates alongside the raw results. That answer field is the one that changes the calculus for agentic work. Most search APIs return links. This one returns links and a pre-digested response the model can paste directly into its reasoning chain without a follow-up fetch. Notice the structure is flat, no pagination object to unwrap, no nested metadata to navigate before you reach the actual text. The results array is ready to loop over the moment it arrives. The API reference on this page also shows the optional parameters, how many results to return, whether to include raw HTML, whether to restrict to a specific domain. All of them have sensible defaults, which means the very first call works without touching any of them. Start simple, tune from there. That's the pattern the whole API is built around. 5 endpoints, each a distinct capability. Search queries the live web and returns structured results, the one you'll use most. Extract pulls full content from a URL you already know. Crawl follows links across a site when you need depth rather than breadth. Map is different. Give it a domain and it returns the site's link structure, useful for building a navigation index before you start crawling. Research is the high-level option, a single call that orchestrates search, extract, and synthesis automatically, trading some control for dramatically less code. Together, these 5 cover nearly every web retrieval pattern an agent would need: one-shot search, targeted extraction, full site traversal, structural mapping, and end-to-end research without intermediate steps. Most projects start with search alone. As the use case grows more complex, competitive analysis, regulatory monitoring, anything requiring breadth plus depth, you layer in the others. The endpoints compose naturally because they share the same auth model and the same response shape. The parameters that will actually change how you use this are search depth and time range. Depth has 2 settings. Basic runs fast, reads a handful of sources, and costs 1 credit. Advanced takes longer, reads more pages, and produces richer content at 2 credits per call. For most agent workflows, start with basic. It fits inside a tool call without inflating your latency, and results hold up well for general queries. Switch to advanced when the question requires synthesis across many sources, deep research, fact-checking, anything where one or two results won't be enough. Time range is the other lever worth knowing. Constrain results to the past day, week, month, or year. That's what lets you build a news monitor that only surfaces fresh content, or a research agent that automatically excludes dated sources. Neither parameter is required. The defaults, basic depth, no time filter, cover the majority of lookups. These exist for the cases where you need more control without building a custom scraping pipeline. 1,000 free searches every month, no credit card required. That's the entry point, enough to build a prototype, run it through its paces, and decide if it fits your use case before you spend anything. The paid tiers scale from there. The starter plan gives you 4,000 credits a month. The research plan goes to 100,000, and enterprise is uncapped. Credits are shared across all 5 endpoints, so the same balance covers search, extract, crawl, and the rest. One thing on this page that's easy to miss, there's a free for students callout. If you have an academic email address, the free tier credit limit is waived, full access without touching a credit card. For a production agent making, say, 100 calls a day, the starter tier more than covers it. A heavy research pipeline hitting the service several hundred times a day would look at the research plan. The math is simple because the pricing is designed to be 1 credit, 1 search, predictable from day one. LangChain is where this gets interesting for agent builders. The integration ships as a first-party tool, one install command, and the search capability drops into any LangChain agent or chain without writing custom wrapper code. Setup on this page is 3 steps. Install the integration package, export your API key as an environment variable, and instantiate the tool. From there, you pass it to an agent exactly like any other LangChain tool. No special handling, no custom schema. The agent already knows how to call it. What this unlocks is tool use with live web access. Your language model was frozen at training time, but the agent it powers can search the web on every call. You get current information without fine-tuning, without a retrieval index, without managing document stores. The docs also show how to configure the tool with the same parameters from the API reference, depth, time range, max results. Set those once at instantiation and every agent call inherits them. Consistent search behavior across all of an agent's calls configured in one place. 6 use cases on this page. And what they share is a dependency on current information the model doesn't have at inference time. Research automation is the obvious one, an agent that searches, reads, synthesizes, and writes a structured report without a human in the loop. Sales preparation follows the same pattern. Feed the agent a company name, and it surfaces recent news, leadership changes, and product updates before a call. Market analysis and competitive monitoring run on a schedule rather than one-off requests. An agent checks a set of topics daily, surfaces changes, and routes the summary wherever your team reads it. Regulatory monitoring is the use case that shows how far this extends. Tracking policy changes across jurisdictions, flagging new filings, summarizing enforcement actions. All of it requires fresh web data on a repeating cadence. That's exactly what the service is built for. The platform doesn't prescribe an architecture for any of these. They're starting points, not templates, patterns to adapt, not blueprints to copy. Head to app.tavily.com, sign up free, and use those 1,000 credits to wire it into your next agent prototype.